You are listening to the Lanterns Radio Network, where Americans come together to illuminate the truth. Turn it up loud and proud until the knob breaks off. Lanterns, illuminating the truth.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Holonet Podcast. Today is Thursday, March 2nd, the year of our Lord, 2017. We've got a crazy show lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about the last undefended battlefield in the realm of ideas. That's YouTube. We're also going to be discussing at length an insane new monetary system that seems to be on the horizon, energy-based currency that could replace the fiat currency that progressive liberals love so much. We're also going to follow up on President Donald Trump's joint session of Congress speech, which took place on the 28th. I'm Matt Holloway. You're listening to the Holonet Podcast on the Lanterns Media Network. Let's hit it.
You're listening to the Holonet on Lanterns Media Network. The millennial conservative resistance begins here.
All right, folks, welcome to the show. I'm Matt Holloway. You're listening to the Holonet on the Lanterns Radio Network. We have got a lot to go over today, so we're just going to jump right into it. And I'm going to ask you if you've heard of these fine gentlemen who I would consider colleagues in digital media, and that would be Mr. Jacksepticeye, Mr. Mark Fishback, a.k.a. Markiplier, and also the ineffable PewDiePie. Now, if you're into the gaming world on YouTube at all, these are going to be some familiar sounds for you.
Top of the morning to you, ladies. My name is Jacksepticeye. My name is Jacksepticeye.
Hello, everybody. My name is Markiplier.
How's it going, Bryce? My name is PewDiePie.
That's right, folks. Today we're going to be diving into the really wicked, wild world of YouTube. Now, I want you to think a little bit about YouTube and realize that this is a truth of our time. Mainstream media is dying. According to digitaltrends.com, most millennials have replaced their television viewing with YouTube. Now, what does that mean for us? Now, most people who are not of the millennial persuasion watch YouTube and they're talking about funny cat videos or, putting up your favorite song so you can jump on the treadmill. But your average millennial gets way more of their news directly from digitaltrends.com than from other sources that you would think of. But is it any wonder that a majority of millennials consider themselves to be fiscally conservative while being socially liberal? The conservative media has been so incredibly slow to adapt, and it's crucial that we turn to some hard figures to check that out. And I put up a story on lanterns.buzz, and if you get a chance, check it out. But I'm going to lay some truth on you here, and it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. We abandoned this battlefield 10 years ago unfought. We gave up, folks. We realized it was a bastion, a stronghold of liberal support, and we just let it lay. In the top 100 news and political channels on YouTube, there are two, count them, two, that could be loosely considered conservative. One is Fox News. They rank number 47 in news and politics on YouTube. And the other? InfoWars, the Alex Jones show, ranks at number 8. That's right. Mr. Alex Jones, Mr. InfoWars, Mr. Homosexual Frogs, Mr. Chemtrail himself is the standard bearer for the conservative movement on YouTube. That means, ladies and gentlemen, we have officially abandoned ship. We have gotten off. We dove out of that battlefield. Ran from it, tails tucked. In case you haven't listened to Mr. Alex Jones, I'm talking about this guy.
If you're a new listener, just type in Pentagon tested gay bomb on Iraq. They didn't consider using it. They've used it on our troops. In Vietnam, they'd spray PCP on the troops, Jacob's Ladder. You think PCP, some horse tranquilizer, something? They got stuff that'll whack your brain permanently. Brain chips in the troops. They give the troops special vaccines that are really nanotech that already re-engineer their brains. Now, there it is, the gay bomb. Look it up for yourself. I mean, this is...
I just want to point out, this guy's using Wikipedia as a source. Christ help us all. Wikipedia as a source, okay?
What do you think tap water is? It's a gay bomb, baby. And I'm not saying people didn't naturally have homosexual feelings. I'm not even getting into it.
You wonder why millennials think we're a joke? This is the best we've got on YouTube. The primary source of millennial media. And this is it, guys. Alex friggin' Jones. I mean, I got to keep this clean for radio, but are you friggin' kidding me?
Quite frankly, I mean, give me a break. You think I am like, shocked by it, so I'm up here bashing it because I don't like gay people? I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Yeah, that's it. 2015. Alex Jones says they're putting chemicals in the water that turn the frogs gay. This is why we almost lost this election, guys. I'm serious. Now, I'm going to go to comments on my own article here, okay? Because I posted this up. I actually posted it last night. This wound up posting this morning. And I immediately started getting pushback. And it blew my mind. That people are so ready to jump on the defensive. Oh, we won the election. Oh, we won the election. Yeah, we lost the popular vote, kids. I mean, granted, I'm not stupid. I know the popular vote doesn't matter in our system. But it still says something. Pretty extreme. Okay, here, from Anthony. He says, what battleground? Blow it straight out your... And I tell him the battlefield of ideas. Sir, liberal owns YouTube, and YouTube is the future of media. We need to get in the fight, or the only thing you'll be blowing out is the 2020 election. He replies, you are letting YouTube dictate your future? You give them way too much credit. Didn't this election teach you anything? Yes, Anthony. Yes, this election taught me something. You know what it taught me? It taught me the mainstream media is irrelevant. The mainstream media is obsolete. Millennials are going to be the largest voting bloc for the next 3 decades, and they get their news from YouTube. And we've given up the fight. Alex freaking Jones is your standard bearer. Alex InfoWars Chemtrails Jones. Can't be serious. Blow it out, my... What battleground? That ignorance right there. That ignorance is what we need to stop. It's what we need to fight against. Or pardon the vernacular, come 2020, we're screwed. We got away with this one, folks. We got a squeaker. You think it's going to be that easy next time it comes around? The Democrats are rallying their forces right now. They have a grassroots machine that we haven't been able to touch in 50 years. The Trump election was a phenomenon. But don't put away your swords and shields just yet, folks. The battle's only beginning. We want a short reprieve only. The real fight's taking place in the halls of Congress and at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue right now. And our battle is taking place online. Now, there are a lot of great Facebook conservatives and Facebook Republicans and Facebook libertarians out there carrying the good fight all across the message boards. But do you even YouTube? Yeah, how about 4chan? How's your Twitter account look? Is your Twitter pretty strong? Ladies and gentlemen, we're losing in a big way. The reason why my generation thinks we're a joke is because online in the places we look, we are a joke. Wake up. You got kids? Take your kids to a Republican Party meeting. Last time I went to a Republican Party meeting, I was the youngest person in the room by 30 friggin' years. I kid you not. Trending on Twitter right now. Number 1, joint address. That means the world is watching right now. People are interested in what President Trump has to say. We have to bring it to them. We have to bring the message of conservatism and of fiscal conservatism to where they live. And where they live is on YouTube. You know who's there right now? Alex Jones and the Young Turks. The Young Turks, headed by Cenk Uygur. By the way, the Young Turks named after a secularist uprising in Turkey following the defeat of the Ottoman Empire in World War I, a group that is largely responsible for the Armenian genocide. Drink that in for a second, okay? I'm not saying the present incarnation Cenk Uygur's company is responsible for the Armenian genocide, no, but they do take their nom de plume from that group. They are number 1 on YouTube for news and politics. I give Cenk a lot of credit. Cenk is actually a former Republican who changed over to the progressive way of thinking, I believe, in the late 90s, early 2000s from the research I've done on him. And from all things, I can respect the man's journalism. He's done some good work. What I can't respect in the least, and what I don't agree with, are his views, but we need to be able to reach across. But in order to be able to reach across, we first have to engage on the battlefield. And Cenk and the Young Turks, they own YouTube, folks. They own it. Sure as they bought it directly from Google. It's theirs. Because we gave it up without a fight. Going to go to a quick commercial break here. I'm Matt Holloway. You're listening to the new battlefield of ideas. You're listening to the HoloNet on the Lanterns Radio Network. Hey everybody, Matt Holloway here. I wanted to take a moment to talk to you about an amazing group of patriot entrepreneurs. Hot Pants LLC of Arizona is a welding, fabrication, and metallurgy company specializing in display weaponry and shields. A veteran-owned and operated company, they create interesting items inspired by their customers' ideas, as well as beautiful custom pieces of their own design. They are certified welders, credentialed by the Arizona Automotive Institute and Tidewater Community College, with a background experience from the U.S. military and the shipping industry. Hot Pants specializes in creating weaponry for cosplay, anime, video games, and the zombie apocalypse. No matter what your imagination can dream up, they can create a slew of interesting, creative weapons and shields, ideal for any costume or outfit. If you're engrossed in the world of video games or role-playing, let them arm your character with unique, high-quality weapons. You won't be disappointed by their artistry and attention to detail. Give them a call today at 602-900-6856. That's 602-900-6856. Order online at www.hotpantsmetal.com. That's HOTTPANTS metal.com. Also there on Facebook at facebook.com/hotpantsllc.
You're listening to the HoloNet on Lanterns Media Network. The millennial conservative resistance begins here.
All right, we're back. I'm Matt Holloway. You're listening to the HoloNet podcast on the Lanterns Media Network. Now, before the break there, got a little crazy talking about YouTube and Alex Jones and Cenk Uygur. But this is something that we as a movement, we as the conservative movement, need to reach out and grasp. And we got to grip the mirror and stare hard into what we see. We look up dumbfounded after the elections of 2012 and 2008 and wonder how Barack Obama managed to be elected twice and how Hillary Clinton very nearly managed to be elected president. And how it seems that Donald Trump just squeaked by despite the enormous support that was thrown behind him. The very stars seemed to line up. We saw conservatives come out of the woodwork who hadn't voted in 20 years. And he just barely pulled it off. I'm sorry, as much as he likes to say it, 306 electoral votes is no mandate. Certainly doesn't beat Reagan. He won, yes. He won respectably. But it was yet another presidential election where the president didn't carry a majority. The Democrats love that. They live for it. They eat it up. Why do you think they've been saying it for a month and a half? And the reason for it is online. Unless you're reading The Blaze, unless you're reading Breitbart and Drudge and all those other wonderful right-wing news sources that we all know, love, and enjoy, like Lanterns.buzz. Unless you're reading our sites, you don't know us. Facebook's a bloody echo chamber. If all your friends are liberals, what are you going to see on Facebook? You're going to see liberalism. All my friends are conservative. What do I see? Conservatism. I have to get outside my comfort zone with friends I have like Will and Jason and other people who aren't of the exact same political persuasion as I do in order to see the outside. Sure, you can get into some bipartisan groups, but at the end of the day, you're going to see what you see. You're going to see what you want to see. You need to look past it. We, as a movement, need to look past it. Get on YouTube. Go ahead, do it right now. Lanterns.buzz has a channel. Heck, I've got a couple of videos on there up as the HoloNet. I need to get on there and record more. They're not very good. You know, one guy. And I'm telling you, just writing stories for Lanterns.buzz and doing the show every week, that takes a lot of my time. But the fact that we're not engaged on YouTube, you know what that's like? That's like in World War II. If the Allies just said, yeah, you know, we're going to let them have Italy. Yeah. We're just not going to... The invasion of Sicily and Parma, we're just not going to bother. We're just going to let Mussolini hang out. He's not the biggest threat. Seriously, that's exactly what it is. You know, tell Patton to pull back. Don't worry about it. We're just going to concentrate on D-Day and invading France. We're not going to worry about the Mediterranean at all. Or even more directly, you know, Pearl Harbor gets bombed. Yeah, don't worry about it. We got to worry about the Nazis. Yeah, don't worry about it. This is how crucial the battlefield of YouTube is. It's a cultural war, folks. It's a cultural clash, a battle that's been ongoing before I was even born. And a new front opened up when YouTube came online and said, broadcast yourself. Oh, and broadcast ourselves we did. All the good, all the bad. Let's plays where you're literally watching somebody play a game with a little inset of their face in the upper left hand or the upper right hand corner to see their reactions. And that's one of the biggest draws to YouTube right now. That's what really brought me to it. Watching players like Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, Markiplier. Then there's the more in-depth analysis of film and games, like Film Theory and Game Theory by MatPat and StephPat over at Theorist Media, and also the number 4 rated film channel CinemaSins, where they literally just plink off and sin, quote unquote, every single cliche that every movie has. And it's a great way to really take in movies. I enjoy it thoroughly. I listen to CinemaSins all the time. Fox News isn't the answer. Setting up websites behind a paygate isn't the answer. Podcasting isn't even the answer. Because in order to listen to a podcast, in order to take it in, somebody has to tell you about it, or you have to see it on Facebook or somewhere. And you have to proactively go out and look for podcasts. YouTube is out in front. It's constantly there. It's downloaded on practically everybody's smartphone. Practically everyone uses it. It's ambiguous. And it's always there. And we have abandoned it to liberal progressive thought. You find me some good, genuine, high-quality programming from a conservative on YouTube, and you're looking at The Blaze. The Blaze just got started. That's fantastic. They're doing great work over there. I think Buck Sexton's doing great work, and Tommy Lauren's Final Thoughts videos are great. Most of those are on Facebook, by the way, not on YouTube. But I think they're getting rolling. But right now they've only got about 90,000 subscribers. That means on the VidStatX, they don't even rank. They don't even rank. The Young Turks are number 1. The Blaze isn't even a blip on their radar right now. Let alone Lanterns.buzz. We are so late to this fight that it is going to take a gargantuan human effort to turn the tide and to stake our claim in our presence. And that's got to start with you. I mean, if we develop content, somebody's got to consume that content. Watch the videos, comment on them, like, share, spread. That's what you need to do in order to perpetuate this fight, in order to carry it into the field that we've abandoned for so long. We need to re-enter the battle, folks. The battle for the American soul. And that battleground is on YouTube, mark my words. Now, I've gone on about this for 2 segments because I think it's crucial. It's critical to the survival of conservative thought that we not stick to the artifices of old. What am I going to do? Put a letter to the editor in the Arizona Republic? Oh yeah, that's going to go far. Am I going to call in on Rush Limbaugh? Am I going to change minds doing that? No, you're going to. Who listens to Rush Limbaugh? Conservatives. Who do we need to reach? Liberals. You're not going to change any minds doing it that way. Chris Pilier, CEO and president of Lanterns, always likes to say, we have to change hearts first. Well, we're not changing nothing if all we're doing is preaching to ourselves and to each other. You got to get out there. And out there is on YouTube. Get out of your echo chamber. You're going to get bruised. You're going to get bloodied. You're going to get bludgeoned over the head by 10 times your number upon 10 times who want to shout you down and call you a racist and call you a bigot and call you a fascist and call you a Nazi because you believe in social and fiscal conservatism, even if you just believe in fiscal conservatism. If you believe we should have much, much, much less government than we have right now that can't provide progressives and liberals with everything that they want. They're going to decry you. But you know, it's easy. It's real easy to be a strong, staunch, vocal conservative in a room full of conservatives, isn't it? Time to get out there, folks. Time to take risks. See, most of us have jobs, so holding up signs in the street and lighting things on fire ain't an option, is it? No. But you got a camera. Most of us have them built right into our phone. Or right into your laptop. You got a microphone. You got a Google account if you got an Android phone. Get on YouTube. Get on Facebook Live. Mainstream media is dead. And the new digital dawn has come. The battle for the millennials is on. We are way behind. And it's time to pick up your swords, pick up your shields, and join the fight. I'm Matt Holloway. You're listening to the HoloNet podcast on Lanterns Media Network. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about an exciting new currency concept that's out there for energy-based currency, as opposed to fiat currency or a precious metals-backed currency like they had in the days of old. That I think is quite possibly the most intelligent way to right the ship of international trade and also get us off of this wildly unsecured, anchorless system that we have today. And we're also going to talk about some highlights from President Donald Trump's joint session of Congress speech. For the HoloNet on Lanterns, I'm Matt Holloway. We'll be right back. Hey everyone, this is Matt Holloway, and I hope you're enjoying our podcast so far. It's been exciting putting this together for you, and I'm looking forward to many more to come. I did want to let you know that in setting up the HoloNet and getting everything launched here, we've gone ahead and set up a page on Patreon.com. Now, if you haven't heard of Patreon, Patreon is a website that's similar to other crowdfunding sources that allows you to support on a month-to-month basis those sources, those artists, and those groups that you really care about and that you're passionate about. And I hope that we can ignite passion in a lot of people to become more involved in the political process, and also to become involved in the conversation and to keep that political dialogue alive. So I'd like to humbly ask you today to consider becoming a patron of the HoloNet on Patreon.com, and you can access that at Patreon.com/TheHoloNet. We have various levels of patronage. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month, which unlocks exclusive content for the Patreon community, such as a feed of patron-only content. Then you have a $5 option, which gives you behind-the-scenes access to blog about the different inspirations that we have. It'll give you access to patrons-only polling. And then we have a $10 option, which gives you a signed digital poster plus everything else. $20 option, which gives you name in the credits on the site, and all other rewards. And we even have a segment sponsor package available on Patreon, which is $125 a month, which entitles you and your business to a 60-second ad as a segment sponsor during the podcast, of course, subject to content approval. So if you would like to become a patron of the HoloNet, we would be greatly thankful to you, and it's going to go toward a solid cause of generating this sort of millennial constitutional conservative content that is so lacking in our media today. So thank you for your time, for your consideration, and for being a part of the HoloNet. Here we hold the line against the night, and the millennial conservative resistance begins here.
You are listening to The Lanterns Radio Network. Where Americans come together to illuminate the truth. Turn it up loud and proud until the knob breaks off. Lanterns, illuminating the truth.
You're listening to the HoloNet on Lanterns Media Network. The millennial conservative resistance begins here.
And we're back. Thanks for sticking with me. I'm Matt Holloway. You're listening to the HoloNet podcast on the Lanterns Radio Network. All right, folks, we have a couple of stories here to review following up President Trump's extremely successful comments to the joint session of Congress, widely held to be his best speech yet. According to theblaze.com, even political pundit and screaming socialist liberal Van Jones actually admitted that this was Trump becoming the president. So extremely presidential. Now, before you think I'm going to turn this segment to a love letter about President Trump, that's not the case, because I have told you that I'm going to hold him up when he does good, and I'm going to point it out when he does wrong. And I heard a lot of great things during that speech. One of the greatest among them was honoring our veterans and honoring our soldiers, which I thought put the president right out front. It was a very, very beautiful, moving moment when the wife of our Navy SEAL special operator who was killed in Yemen was pointed to, and basically the whole Congress stood and gave a standing ovation. I know it was widely reported that the Democrats in the aisles refused to stand, but through my own research I found that Snopes has revealed this to not be the case, that indeed the Democrats in Congress did stand for the standing ovation, but they were very quick to return to their seats. So again, that was the widow of fallen Navy SEAL Senior Chief William Owens. Her name is Karen Owens. She was seated with Ivanka Trump during the joint session of the Congress. And again, based on sources such as Snopes, it appears that Democratic representatives did indeed stand, but were very quick to return to their seats, whereas their Republican colleagues stood for several seconds to a minute longer. Now, that was a beautiful moment. According to theblaze.com, Carlos Garcia, the emotional moment was praised on all sides as one of the most remarkable in recent political history, but Dan Grillo believed it was a good idea to snipe at the widow and do it publicly on his social media account. Okay, so this is referring to a tweet from an ex-Hillary Clinton volunteer who gave a very negative tweet that apparently the widow was seeking attention and that Trump used her. He said, "Sorry, Owen's wife, you're not helping yourself or your husband's memory by standing there and clapping like an idiot. Trump just used you." And, got his comeuppance fast, quick, and in a hurry, and rightly so, I should think. So, there you go. But anyway, I got a little ahead of myself there. I just wanted to point that out, and that it's good to see people face the consequences of being particularly harsh to a widow of an American hero. But back to the speech. A couple of things that concerned me here. The president laid out his $1 trillion infrastructure plan with seemingly no mind to reduce the deficit and reduce the national debt. That's a huge problem for me as a fiscal conservative. That's an alarm that goes off. We're about to spend $1 trillion on infrastructure, which I get. There's a return on investment, and we do need the infrastructural buildup. But the cuts that the president is seeking to make to other departments are just insufficient. It doesn't come close to paying the $1 trillion price tag here, let alone the cost for the wall. I do love that he addressed the wall and that, yes, the wall is going to go up. I'm an Arizonan, so I dig that. But the fiscal policy gives me pause here. The other big fiscal policy that a lot of people are praising but still gave me pause, the president quoted President Abraham Lincoln with a protectionist trade argument. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, but free trade has been crucial to the success of this American experiment that we live in. And if we give up on free trade, we might as well give up on the free market economy, because it's the free market economy on a macro scale. Should we deal with China as currency manipulators? Absolutely. Should we seek to deal in more amicable trade agreements, bilateral agreements? I agree wholeheartedly. Should we start a trade war with our biggest trade partner in China? I really don't think it's wise. I also don't think it's wise to engage in tariffs. I know we've talked about the Hartley-Smoot Tariff Act here on this show. We've gone back to the history of the Great Depression. Tariffs did not help then. They will not help now, because the cost, ladies and gentlemen, gets passed on to you and it gets passed on to me. Corporate interests are not going to pay the increased costs of production. They're going to pass that on to you. So I strongly question the president's policies therein. And I know I actually had Dr. Kelly Ward, who's a prominent political figure here in the state of Arizona. She ran against Senator John McCain this last election round. She actually came out rather strong on that, and she is a huge Trump supporter. Let me see if I can pull up her comments here. Yes, she actually reminded me here. A great speech that reinforces promises to the American people, but she just can't get behind the forced federal paid leave. And I agree with Dr. Ward fully on this matter. Federal paid maternity and paternity leave. So in other words, this is a mandate for all companies in the United States to offer maternity and paternity leave. That is incredibly costly. Those 3 months, or depending on where you're at, I believe the figure they're tossing around right now is 3 months, could be make or break to a small to medium-sized business. Because they have the following options. You lose that productivity, or you hire somebody on, presumably paying them equal wage, which means you're paying double the cost for that position for 3 months. This could even be make or break for bigger firms. Now, if a company decides to do this of their own volition and on their own, that's fantastic. I know there are many companies out there that do. And it's a great benefit. It's a great way to attract talent. But if you keep taking away these above and beyond measures that companies and corporations can use to attract the best talent, it's going to get more difficult for them to do so, because you're devaluing that benefit. This is one of the same arguments I gave to socialized healthcare. Health insurance is a benefit. It's part of your benefits package. So it's supposed to be a perk of working for a particular company. So if you make that flat line across the board, you're taking away that value add. And there's my years of sales training talking. These are value adds for these companies. Hey, we offer paternity leave and maternity leave. Hey, we offer, medical, dental, health, and pharmaceutical coverage. That's fantastic. Makes me want to sign up for that company, because too many people think about that healthcare plan that your company offers as a right. It's not. It's part of your salary. That's right. That is part of your compensation package. You need to think of it thusly. It used to be it was a big competitive edge for a company to offer you health insurance. Not anymore. Now it's expected. Now it's demanded under the Affordable Care Act. So just a little food for thought for you there. Now we're going to take a little break here, and when we come back for our final segment, I'm going to introduce you to two stories that I think, well, if I didn't read them myself, I would assume immediately they were hashtag fake news. Because they just seem too outlandishly fantastical to be true. But they come from prominent sources, and a little bit of background checking, yeah, they're legit. And both of them involve our friends across the pond, the dear United Kingdom of Great Britain. So, interesting news from the British coming up after this break. You're listening to the HoloNet podcast on the Lanterns Radio Network. I'm Matt Holloway.
Lanterns authorization code accepted. Logging in. Your access to the HoloNet has been approved. Please stand by.
Hey everybody, this is Matt Holloway. I hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. If you'd like to see more from the HoloNet, please check out our site at www.theholonet.blogspot.com. Again, that's www.theholonet.blogspot.com. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/theholonet. Also on Twitter at Matt D. Holloway or at the HoloNet.
You're listening to the HoloNet on Lanterns Media Network. The millennial conservative resistance begins here.
All right. We're back. So I'm going to read you two stories, okay, from two prominent sources. So there's not going to be a tip-off there. And I want you to vote on which one sounds more fake, more false, more outlandish, okay? Because I can't make up my mind. So I'm going to set up a little polling thing. It's my first time setting up a polling thing. I'm going to set it up on the Facebook page. I'm also going to set it up on Twitter. So facebook.com/theholonet and at Matt D. Holloway for Twitter. But okay, here's the two titles, all right? Listen to this. An American has taken out a huge advert in the Times to say he's the rightful king of England. That's off of Indy100.com, otherwise known as The Independent. And check out this one. This is from the Telegraph.co.uk, mind you. Exclusive. United States could become an associate member of the Commonwealth. Okay, now if you don't know, the British Commonwealth is basically what the British Empire devolved to after World War II. When, there's a great bit about it. Hang on. All right, I got it queued up. Now, I think Eddie Izzard, the stand-up comedian, probably explains the situation best that led to the British Commonwealth in his Dress to Kill show. So I'm going to go ahead and just play a clip from that real quick because he explains it very nicely. Here's Eddie Izzard.
Just like that. So after the Second World War, the whole world was saying, come on, Europe, give these countries back. Come on, we've had a bloody war. Let's give them back. Britain, what? What's that behind your back? Oh, it's India and a number of other countries. Give them back. Oh, all right. That one. Falkland Islands. Oh, we need the Falkland Islands for strategic sheep purposes.
All right, that was Mr. Eddie Izzard, one of my more favorite stand-up comedians, just really laying it out as to what the British Commonwealth was. The British Commonwealth was the eventual evolution of the British Empire post-World War II. It was brought about by the Westminster Act, which spun off Canada officially as a full-blown independent nation rather than as a dominion. Same thing with Australia. India became a republic. South Africa also became a republic, and a number of other countries that were previously the British Empire. Now, the Commonwealth is basically a loose coalition of former and present Anglophone nations, and many of them, the full members, still acknowledge Queen Elizabeth as sovereign and monarch. Okay? So that sets up the stage for you about what the British Commonwealth is about. Now, if you want to see a little bit more of what the British Commonwealth does in today's context, you can check out the Royal Commonwealth Society. Just Google that. But here's that story from thetelegraph.co.uk. The Royal Commonwealth Society is making plans to open a branch in the United States with a view to one day bringing America into the fold as an associate member. The project, which is said to be backed by the Queen, has come about in part as a result of President Donald Trump's fondness for Britain and the royal family. It comes amid efforts to develop the Commonwealth as a tool for building relationships on everything from foreign policy to trade following Britain's exit from the European Union. Okay? Now, that's just the first paragraph or so, but let me lay this out for you, okay? The way the British Commonwealth works is, as the Telegraph reports, that's Ruth Sherlock of the Washington branch of the Telegraph, the Commonwealth is a tool for building relationships on foreign policy and trade between former British Empire nations, okay? Your Anglophone nations, U.S., Australia, New Zealand, etc., so on and so forth. Okay? One of the big things is that it provides a necessary framework for the bilateral trade agreements that President Trump's administration and 10 Downing Street are seeking. So, while we're trying hard to rebuild bilateral trade agreements with Britain post-Brexit, this provides a previously existing framework that we can simply overlay on top of the special relationship between the United States of America and the UK. So not completely outlandish, right? And the associate membership means, no, folks, here in the United States, we are not going to be required to accept Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II as our Lord and Sovereign. That's not the way this is going to work. It's an associate membership. But, of course, it's getting a lot of press. Why? Because as a nation that in 1776 overthrew British rule, it's kind of odd for us to be joining the Commonwealth of Nations, where Queen Elizabeth is, in office and in title, as part of her full titles, head of the Commonwealth. Here, check this out. I'll give you the full title of Queen Elizabeth. Okay, so Queen Elizabeth II's full title is, by the grace of God in the United Kingdom, Canada, and her other realms and territories, Queen, head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith, Elizabeth II. Did you catch that bit in the middle? Head of the Commonwealth? Yeah. So we would be a part of the Commonwealth, albeit an associate member, where Queen Elizabeth is still the head of the Commonwealth. So that's interesting. This would represent kind of a seismic shift of the UK taking the lead in the US-UK bilateral relationship. So I think this is really interesting. I'm going to watch this story closely. I think you should too. See how it pans out. In my view, it kind of smacks in the face of American sovereignty a little bit. Depending on the details and the ins and outs of this associate membership in the Commonwealth. But me, on the whole, I'm entirely in favor of tighter relations with the UK and Great Britain. I mean, that can do nothing but good for us. Now, the other story that I mentioned, and this is just something straight out of fiction. I really wish it was fake. But according to AOL, here we go. WalesOnline.co.uk, a man, evidently a resident of Colorado, has taken out a huge ad in the Times claiming to be the rightful king of the UK. Claiming to be the rightful king of England. So we're going to go to... Let me see which write-up. There's like 20 write-ups on here. So we're going to do walesonline.co.uk. All right. Alan V. Evans of Colorado, USA, believes he's no ordinary man. He is so certain he's taken out a large 2-column advertisement in today's Times newspaper to declare his claim to the throne of Wales. Okay, now this is being received with the kind of, I'm going to say stiff humor that we're used to coming from the UK. But it comes now, Alan V. Evans, resident of Colorado, USA, who is a direct descendant of an unbroken primogeniture line, legally documented since the 3rd century in Great Britain, registered with the Royal College of Arms, direct descendant of Cynnig Welig, who was founder of the Kingdom of Wales, then known as the Kingdom of Gondor. Hang on, hold the phone. Gondor. Yeah, that's right. like the Lord of the Rings Gondor. That should tell us that I think we're being trolled on an epic scale. Yeah, he even does a hat tip to it, because at the end of his little ad here, he says, "Take heed and rejoice, all Welshmen, Scots, Manx, all Britons, and all citizens of this great nation called Great Britain, that the light of freedom and egalitarianism shall be promoted and promulgated, that the democracy and all democratic values will be promoted, and that Lady Britannia, who has contributed so much to the culture and history of the world, shall be renewed and made great once again." What does that sound like? Make America great again. "For the legend was not a myth, but was indeed true, and more than a mere Tolkien story," J.R.R. Tolkien, author of Lord of the Rings, "that the men of the West are now returning, and now is the time of the return of the king." So, yeah. We have Great Britain making overtures to add the United States as an associate member to the Commonwealth of States, of the British Commonwealth. And we also have a man from Colorado, an Alan V. Evans, ostensibly laying claim to the throne of Great Britain. It's been a weird week in Anglo-American relations, folks. Weird week. Okay? Now, we've only got a couple of minutes left. I wanted to do some fun stuff today, just because the first half of the show was really kind of intense. So I wanted to break it up a little. But there's a new concept in currency, and it's on theperfectcurrency.org. I want you to check it out. I'm going to put a link in on the show notes. And it's a currency that is measured in real physical units, not monetary units. And to give you an idea, the gold standard, basically you had the amount of money fixed to an amount of gold that's in storage for the country, and that's how you get the value of money, right? Now, ever since the 70s, I believe it was 76, President Nixon took us off the gold standard, and now we have fiat currency, which is the money's basically worth what the Fed tells you it's worth, and it's fluid, and it moves, and you can add money and take away money, and it's pinned to nothing and has caused many of the economic woes that we've experienced over the last 100 years or so. And there's varying opinions on that, but I personally believe that fiat currency is the worst thing we've ever done as a nation and as a world, and why we have inflation as we do, and why money is worth a fraction of what it was worth 30, 40 years ago. But the concept here, the proposal on theperfectcurrency.org, is to tie the value of a nation's money to the kilowatt hours that it produces in energy. Because the law of conservation of energy says that energy can be neither created nor destroyed, and it's completely true. And all productivity, all industrial productivity, in the end, comes down to how much electricity you can produce as a nation. And it is an accurate measure of industrial development and economic strength. So the United States, China, Russia would still all be huge players here. Middle East would be big players because, you have energy in the form of oil. But this could be a universally applicable standard that can be utilized by every nation. I'm not talking about a one world currency here, kids, so before you pull out the tinfoil hats, chill for a second. I'm talking about implementing this here in the United States in order to stabilize our economy and make our dollar stronger and ensure that the American dollar will be the basis for world trade for another 50 years. So take a look at that. That's on www.theperfectcurrency.org. We're going to go into a little more on our next show. That's all the time we have for this week. I'm Matt Holloway. You've been listening to the HoloNet podcast on the Lanterns Radio Network. You can catch me on Facebook at facebook.com/theHoloNet. Also on Twitter at Matt D. Holloway. LinkedIn, I'm Matthew D. Holloway on LinkedIn. I just got on Reddit too. It's Matt_HoloNet. So check me out on Reddit too. Thank you all so much for joining me this week. It's been an awesome time. I know the tone from the first half of the show to the second half of the show really changed. I recorded it in 2 separate sessions, and I calmed down quite a bit because that YouTube thing was driving me crazy. But anyway, we'll catch you next time. For the HoloNet on the Lanterns Media Network, I'm Matt Holloway. Good night, and God bless.